You've been lied to your entire life. Not by strangers, by the people standing right in front of you, smiling, shaking your hand, telling you exactly what you want to hear. The truth is, most people are performing every single day. They craft personas, rehearse responses, and hide their real intentions behind masks so carefully constructed that even they forget they're wearing them. And you've been watching the performance and believing it was real. But what if you could see through all of it? What if, within 5 minutes of meeting someone, you could read their true character, their hidden motivations, and the things they'll never willingly tell you? This isn't fantasy. This is psychology. For centuries, strategists, diplomats, and students of human nature have developed methods for reading people that cut through every social mask. Machiavelli studied these patterns in the courts of Renaissance Italy. Bismarck used them to manipulate entire nations. And today, I'm going to hand them to you. By the end of this video, you'll understand why people's words mean almost nothing compared to their unconscious signals. You'll learn the 7 tells that reveal someone's true nature within minutes. And you'll discover how the people who manipulate you are reading you right now, without you even knowing. This knowledge was never meant for the general public. It's still being used against you daily. The only question is whether you'll remain blind to it, or finally open your eyes. Let's begin. In 1513, Niccolò Machiavelli wrote something that still makes people uncomfortable 500 years later. He said, "Men in general judge more from appearances than from reality. All men have eyes, but few have the gift of penetration." Think about what that means. Everyone can see, almost no one can perceive. The difference between seeing and perceiving is the difference between watching a magic trick and understanding how it's done. Machiavelli spent his career as Florence's chief diplomat, meeting kings and cardinals, negotiating with warlords, and watching people lie to his face while revealing everything through their behavior. He learned that humans are shockingly predictable once you know what to look for. Not what they say, what they do when they think no one is analyzing them. Here's the uncomfortable reality. Every person you meet is running calculations beneath the surface. They're assessing your status. They're measuring your usefulness. They're deciding how much truth you deserve and how much deception will serve them better. This isn't cynicism. This is observation. And once you accept it, you stop being the person who gets played and start being the person who sees the play happening. You felt this before. That moment when someone says all the right words, but something feels off. That instinct when a smile doesn't reach their eyes. That nagging sense that you're being managed rather than genuinely engaged with. Those feelings are data. Your subconscious is picking up signals that your conscious mind hasn't learned to interpret yet. Today, we make those signals explicit. What I'm about to share isn't about becoming paranoid or distrustful. It's about becoming accurate. Most people are decent, but you need to identify the ones who aren't before they identify you as a target. Machiavelli also wrote that a ruler must learn to play both the lion and the fox. The lion to scare off wolves, the fox to see the snares. Reading people is the skill of the fox. It's seeing the trap before you step in it. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I see what others hide. Principle 1. Watch the eyes, not the mouth. The first key to reading anyone is understanding where genuine expression actually lives. It's not in words. Words are the most controlled, most rehearsed, most manipulable form of communication humans have. People spend their entire lives learning to say things they don't mean. They're trained from childhood to be polite rather than honest, to flatter rather than assess, to perform rather than reveal. So stop listening so carefully to what people say. Start watching what they can't control. The eyes are the gateway, not because of some mystical connection to the soul, but because of physiology. The muscles around the eyes are incredibly difficult to consciously control. When someone fake smiles, their mouth moves, but their eye muscles don't engage. When someone is genuinely pleased to see you, the entire area around their eyes activates, creating what researchers call the Duchenne smile. Here's the application. When you meet someone, watch their eyes the moment they recognize you. Not a second later, the very first instant. That flash of genuine response happens before their social mask clicks into place. What do you see? Do their eyes light up, stay neutral, narrow slightly? That micro-expression contains more truth than anything they'll say in the next hour. Machiavelli observed that Pope Alexander VI was the greatest deceiver in history, yet people kept believing him. How? Because Alexander had mastered verbal deception. His words were perfect, but those who watched carefully, those who looked past the words, saw the calculation in his eyes that his mouth never revealed. The eyes also reveal attention, and attention reveals priority. When you're speaking, where are their eyes? On you? On something behind you? Checking their phone? Scanning for someone more important? People can say, "You're so interesting," while their eyes are already searching for the exit. Their words claim engagement. Their eyes reveal disinterest. Trust the eyes. Here's a technique used by intelligence operatives. When someone makes a claim, watch their eyes immediately after they finish speaking. Liars tend to look away, then look back to check if you believed them. They're monitoring your reaction to their deception. Truth tellers don't need to check, because they have nothing to verify. There's one more pattern with eyes that most people never notice. When someone is genuinely thinking, processing a question honestly, their eyes move. They look up, or to the side, or down. They're accessing memory, considering, formulating. When someone has a prepared answer, their eyes stay locked. There's no processing because the response was ready before you asked. This doesn't always mean deception, but it should trigger your attention. Why did they have that answer ready? Drop this affirmation in the comments. I read what's real, not what's rehearsed. Principle 2. The hierarchy tells everything. The second key will change how you see every social interaction for the rest of your life. Every human being, in every situation, is constantly performing calculations about hierarchy. Where do I rank? Who's above me? Who's below? How do I need to behave with each? Most people do this unconsciously, but the ones who understand power, the ones Machiavelli wrote about, do it deliberately. And the way someone treats people at different levels of perceived status tells you everything about their character. Here's the principle. Watch how someone treats people they don't need. The waiter, the receptionist, the assistant, the person who can do nothing for them. This is where character emerges without costume. Because performing for people above you is easy, everyone does it. But maintaining respect for people below you requires genuine character rather than strategic calculation. When you see someone who's charming to the CEO but dismissive to the intern, you're seeing the truth. The charm isn't real, it's instrumental. They're nice when it benefits them, and the moment you stop benefiting them, you'll be treated exactly like that intern. Machiavelli noted that many rulers were kind to their court but cruel to their subjects. He observed that this revealed something fundamental. Their kindness wasn't kindness at all. It was management. Real character doesn't shift based on what someone can do for you. Here's how to apply this within 5 minutes of meeting someone. Create a test. Introduce them to someone of lower status. Watch closely. Do they offer the same eye contact, the same attention, the same respect? Or do they register, dismiss, and return their focus to whoever they perceive as more important? That shift, that microscopic reduction in engagement, tells you exactly how they'll treat you the moment your usefulness declines. And everyone's usefulness declines eventually. There's a flip side to this that's equally revealing. Watch how someone treats people above them. Are they the same person? Or do they transform? Does their voice change, their posture, their level of agreement? People who become sycophants with superiors while becoming tyrants with subordinates have no stable character at all. They're pure performance, adapting their mask to each situation. And that means you can never trust who they'll be when the situation shifts. The person you want in your life is consistent across hierarchies. They're respectful to the CEO and respectful to the janitor. Not because they're calculating optimal behavior, but because that's actually who they are. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I watch how they treat those who can't help them. Principle 3. Inconsistency is the alarm. Here's where we start to identify dangerous people specifically. The most important signal that someone cannot be trusted is inconsistency between their words and their behavior. This sounds obvious. It isn't. Because skilled manipulators create such elaborate verbal frameworks that you start doubting your own perception of their actions. They say they value honesty, then you catch them in a small lie. They say they care about you, then they're nowhere when you need them. They say they're trustworthy, then they gossip about others to you. Each individual instance can be explained away. They had a reason for that lie. They were busy when you needed them. That gossip was different because those people deserved it. This is how manipulation works. 1 inconsistency is explained. 2 are explained. 10 are explained. And before you know it, you're living in a completely false reality, constructed by someone who has trained you to dismiss the evidence of your own eyes. Machiavelli warned about this explicitly. He wrote that men are so simple and so ready to obey present necessities that one who deceives will always find those willing to be deceived. The willing part is crucial. We become willing when we explain away inconsistencies instead of registering them. Every excuse we make for someone's contradictory behavior is a step deeper into their deception. Here's the practice. When you meet someone new, keep mental track of every claim they make about themselves. I'm a loyal friend. I always tell the truth. I put family first. Whatever they claim. Then watch. Not suspiciously, not paranoidly, just watch. Do their actions match their claims? Not once or twice, but consistently? 1 mismatch is data. 2 is a pattern. 3 is a verdict. This applies to stated values especially. Many people announce values they don't hold because holding them seems admirable. They say they value integrity, but cut corners when it's convenient. They say they value family, but consistently prioritize work. They say they value friendship, but disappear when friends have problems rather than opportunities. The skill isn't catching liars in obvious lies. Anyone can do that. The skill is catching the slow, subtle drift between who someone presents themselves as and who they actually are. Bismarck understood this deeply. He never trusted words alone. He trusted patterns. When an ambassador made claims, Bismarck would wait months, sometimes years, tracking whether actions confirmed those claims. Only then would he know who he was actually dealing with. That level of patience isn't always possible, but even in 5 minutes, you can catch inconsistencies. Someone claims they don't care about status, then name drops constantly. Someone claims they're easygoing, then gets visibly irritated at a small inconvenience. Someone claims they're confident, then constantly seeks reassurance. The mouth says one thing, the behavior says another. Always trust the behavior. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I track patterns, not promises. Re-engagement, the FBI method. Let me share something that will immediately upgrade your ability to read people. Former FBI behavioral analyst Joe Navarro spent decades interrogating suspects and learning to read nonverbal communication. He developed what he calls a baseline and deviation method that cuts through every social mask. Here's how it works. In the first few minutes with anyone, you're not trying to read them yet. You're establishing their baseline. How do they normally sit? How do they normally speak? What's their typical level of eye contact? What gestures are habitual for them? This matters because individuals vary wildly. For some people, crossed arms means defensive. For others, it's just comfortable. For some people, looking away while speaking means deception. For others, it's how they process thoughts. The baseline tells you what's normal for this person. And once you know normal, you can spot deviation. Deviation is the signal. When someone's behavior suddenly changes, when their patterns break, that's when they're responding to something emotionally significant. Maybe it's a topic they're lying about. Maybe it's a subject that makes them uncomfortable. Maybe it's a question that touches something they want to hide. The specific deviation tells you something too. When people feel stressed or threatened, they engage in what Navarro calls pacifying behaviors. They touch their neck, they rub their legs, they adjust their clothing. They're unconsciously trying to comfort themselves. When you see pacifying behaviors spike in response to a specific topic, that topic has emotional weight. And emotional weight often means there's something beneath the surface. Here's the application. In the first 2 minutes of conversation, just observe. Don't probe, don't test. Just watch their baseline. Then, as conversation develops, notice when patterns shift. When do they become more animated? When do they become more still? When do pacifying behaviors appear? You don't need to know exactly what deviation means. You just need to know that something is happening there. That's where the real person lives, beneath the social performance. That's where you focus your attention if you want truth. This is why skilled interviewers ask about neutral topics first. The weather, the drive over, simple stuff. They're not making small talk, they're establishing baseline. Every question after that is measured against that baseline for deviation. 5 minutes is enough to establish baseline and catch multiple deviations. Most people tell you far more than they realize in that window. They just don't know they're telling you because they don't know you're watching. Now, you're watching. Principle 4. Questions reveal priorities. Most people focus on what others say. Advanced readers focus on what others ask. The questions someone asks tell you what they care about, not what they claim to care about, what actually occupies their mind. Meet someone new and pay attention to their questions. What do they want to know? Where do they steer the conversation? What topics do they keep returning to? Someone who asks about your job, your title, your accomplishments, is sizing up your status. Someone who asks about your interests, your experiences, your opinions, is interested in you as a person. Someone who asks about people you know is mapping your network. Someone who asks about your vulnerabilities, your challenges, your weaknesses, is gathering intelligence. None of these is necessarily bad, but all of them are revealing. And the person asking rarely realizes how much they're exposing. Machiavelli understood that what people seek reveals what they lack. A person constantly asking about others' wealth is insecure about their own. A person constantly asking about others' relationships is uncertain in their own. A person constantly asking about others' opinions is seeking validation for their own. Here's a powerful technique. When someone asks you a question, before you answer, briefly consider, why this question? Why now? What does asking this reveal about their priorities? You don't need to answer differently. You just need to register the data. Questions also reveal intelligence, or lack of it. Sharp people ask questions that get to the core of things. They cut through surface details to underlying structure. Shallow people ask questions that anyone could think of. They stay on the surface because they can't perceive the depth. This is particularly useful in professional contexts. When you're evaluating whether someone knows their field, listen to their questions more than their statements. Statements can be memorized. Questions reveal live thinking. There's another dimension here. Watch for questions that aren't questions at all. These are statements disguised as questions, used to make a point rather than gain information. Don't you think that's unfair? Isn't asking for your opinion. It's asserting theirs and seeking compliance. Wouldn't anyone do the same thing? Isn't exploring ethics. It's defending a choice they've already made. When you hear these pseudo-questions, you're hearing someone who wants agreement, not understanding. And that tells you they're more interested in being validated than in learning truth. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I listen to questions more than answers. Principle 5. Time pressure reveals character. Here's something that separates amateur readers from masters. Character isn't revealed in comfortable moments. It's revealed under pressure. Anyone can be pleasant when nothing is at stake. The question is who someone becomes when stakes rise. In a 5-minute interaction, you probably can't create genuine high-stakes pressure, but you can watch for how someone responds to small pressures. Because small pressures are previews of large ones. A waiter gets the order wrong. How do they respond? Traffic makes them late. How do they handle it? A minor technical difficulty interrupts something. What's their reaction? Some people meet small inconveniences with patience and proportion. Others escalate. They get frustrated, impatient, maybe even aggressive. The size of their reaction, compared to the size of the problem, tells you about their emotional regulation. This matters because life contains large pressures. Health crises, financial problems, relationship conflicts, professional setbacks. You want to know how someone handles these before you're in them together. The person who loses composure over a wrong coffee order will lose composure when something actually matters. The person who gets aggressive with a service worker will get aggressive with you when you disappoint them. The person who can't handle a 5-minute delay can't handle real adversity. Machiavelli observed that many rulers appeared strong in peacetime but collapsed when war came. The appearance was easy to maintain when nothing tested it. The reality emerged under pressure. You can create small tests if you're willing. Be slightly late, make a small request, introduce a minor, unexpected element. These aren't manipulations if you're not trying to harm them. You're just creating conditions where character becomes visible. What you're looking for is resilience and proportion. Do they adapt to the unexpected? Do they respond proportionally? Do they stay focused on solutions rather than getting stuck on problems? Here's the inverse observation. Some people are calm under small pressures, but become erratic when stakes genuinely rise. You can't always see this in 5 minutes, but you can watch for signs of brittleness, the sense that their composure is a thin shell over something volatile. Brittle people often display rigidity. They need things to go exactly as expected. They plan obsessively. They become uncomfortable with ambiguity. This isn't necessarily bad, but it predicts how they'll respond when life inevitably doesn't go as planned. Anti-fragile people, on the other hand, almost seem to enjoy small chaos. They adapt fluidly. They see problems as puzzles rather than catastrophes. They stay loose when things shift. In 5 minutes, you can spot which tendency someone leans toward, and that tendency will define how they behave in every crisis you might share with them. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I watch who they become under pressure. Principle 6. The projection. Tell. This principle is psychologically profound, and most people have never heard it stated clearly. What people criticize most in others is often what they're most guilty of themselves. It's called projection. The mind takes qualities it can't accept in itself and sees them in others instead. The person who constantly accuses others of lying is often deceptive themselves. The person who suspects everyone of selfishness is often self-centered. The person who sees manipulation everywhere is often manipulative. This isn't universal. Sometimes criticism is simply accurate. But when you hear excessive, repeated, emotionally charged criticism of a specific trait, you're often hearing confession disguised as accusation. Machiavelli noticed that the people who complained most loudly about the dishonesty of princes were often the ones most willing to lie when it served them. Their complaints weren't moral stands. They were jealousy that others were doing successfully what they wished they could do. Here's how to apply this in reading someone. Listen for what they criticize, not occasional observations. Themes. What do they return to repeatedly? What character flaws in others seem to bother them disproportionately? Then hold that data, not as proof, as hypothesis, and watch whether their own behavior confirms or contradicts it. The person who constantly talks about how fake everyone is may be performing themselves. The person who always identifies others as status-seeking may be obsessed with status. The person who warns you about how manipulative people are may be manipulating you with the warning. This also works with praise, though it's subtler. What someone admires often reveals what they wish they had. Excessive praise for confidence might reveal insecurity. Excessive admiration for wealth might reveal financial anxiety. Excessive respect for status might reveal their own status hunger. You're building a psychological map. Each criticism, each admiration, each repeated concern adds data. The pattern that emerges tells you about their inner world, the fears and desires and insecurities they carry, but rarely state directly. There's a powerful question you can ask that triggers projection. It sounds innocent, but reveals depths. What do you think motivates most people? Listen to their answer. Whatever they say people are primarily motivated by is usually what primarily motivates them. Greed, fear, love, power, approval, security. Their answer is autobiography disguised as anthropology. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I hear confession in criticism. Re-engagement, the Machiavelli warning. Let me tell you something Machiavelli understood that most people still don't. The most dangerous people are not the ones who seem dangerous. They're the ones who seem safe. Machiavelli wrote extensively about Cesare Borgia, a man who could charm you completely while planning your destruction. Borgia's victims weren't stupid. They were some of the smartest people in Italy. But they trusted appearances, and Borgia was a master of appearances. The actual wolves in your life rarely look like wolves. They look like friends. They look helpful. They look concerned for your well-being. This is precisely what makes them effective. Think about it from their perspective. If you wanted to manipulate someone, would you announce your intentions? Would you be obviously untrustworthy? Of course not. You'd be charming. You'd be likable. You'd be exactly what they wanted to see. This is why surface impressions are so unreliable. The nicest seeming person in the room may be the most calculating. The most helpful person may be building debt they'll later collect. The most interested person may be gathering intelligence. I'm not saying assume everyone is a predator. Most people aren't. But the ones who are have specifically designed themselves to pass the tests that most people use. They're charming because they studied charm. They're trustworthy seeming because they practiced the signals. They're your friend because friendship is their entry point. Machiavelli's solution wasn't paranoia, it was patience. Don't trust first impressions. Don't trust words. Don't trust appearances. Trust patterns over time. Trust behavior under pressure. Trust consistency across situations. The socially skilled predator can fool you for one interaction, probably for several, but maintaining the mask over months, across different circumstances, when stakes vary, that's nearly impossible. The truth leaks out eventually. Your job is to be watching when it does. This is why the principles in this video matter. They're not about snap judgments. They're about informed observations that accumulate into accurate assessment. 5 minutes gives you initial data. Months of watching that data compound into genuine understanding. And by then, if someone is dangerous, you've seen it before they can harm you. Principle 7. The story they tell about themselves. Everyone has a narrative, a story they tell about who they are. Learning to hear that story is one of the most powerful reading skills available. In the first 5 minutes of meeting someone, listen for their self-story. It often emerges quickly. They're the person who worked their way up from nothing. They're the person who got betrayed by partners. They're the person who has bad luck with relationships. They're the person who's always the smartest in the room. This story matters because it reveals their identity, and identity shapes behavior far more than circumstances do. Someone who identifies as a victim will interpret events through victimhood. Someone who identifies as a winner will interpret events through winning. Someone who identifies as an outsider will maintain distance even when welcomed. Here's the key insight. The story isn't necessarily true. What matters is that they believe it. And because they believe it, they'll act to confirm it. The person whose story is, "I always get betrayed," will unconsciously create conditions for betrayal. They'll choose untrustworthy partners. They'll interpret ambiguous situations as betrayal. They'll push people away until the people actually leave, confirming the story. When you hear someone's self-story, you can predict their future behavior. Not perfectly, but with significant accuracy. Because they're going to keep doing what their story requires them to do. Machiavelli watched princes who had stories about being destined for greatness. Those stories made them take risks that destroyed them. He watched rulers whose stories were about being persecuted. Those stories made them cruel in preemptive defense. The story shaped the reign. Listen for language patterns that reveal self-story. I'm always the one who... People like me. It's just my luck that... I'm not the kind of person who... Each of these phrases is followed by story. And story is prophecy. The person will keep becoming who they've decided they are. This is useful for 2 reasons. First, it helps you predict. Someone whose story involves being betrayed will eventually see you as a betrayer, regardless of your actions. Someone whose story involves being underestimated will constantly need to prove themselves, which creates exhausting dynamics. Someone whose story involves being superior will dismiss your perspectives because their story requires them to. Second, it helps you understand their interpretation of events. When you know their story, you know how they'll frame whatever happens. You can anticipate their reactions, address their concerns before they voice them, and avoid triggering their defensive patterns. The most powerful version of this is detecting victim stories. People with strong victim identities will pull you into their drama. They'll need enemies, and if you're not careful, you'll eventually become one. No matter how supportive you are, their story requires adversaries, and you're a candidate. When you hear someone consistently positioning themselves as victim, proceed with extreme caution. Not because victims don't exist, they do, but because the victim identity actively creates the conditions it claims to suffer from. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I hear the story beneath the words. Let's bring everything together. You now have 7 keys to reading anyone within 5 minutes. Not with certainty. Certainty takes longer, but with enough accuracy to protect yourself and make informed decisions about who deserves your trust. First, watch the eyes. They reveal what words conceal. Second, observe hierarchy treatment. How someone treats those below them predicts how they'll treat you. Third, track inconsistencies. The gap between words and actions is where truth lives. Fourth, notice their questions. What they ask reveals what they prioritize. Fifth, watch responses to pressure. Small frustrations preview large crises. Sixth, hear projection. Criticism often confesses what the critic most fears in themselves. Seventh, detect self-story. Identity predicts behavior more than circumstance does. Together, these form a system, not for judging people, for understanding them, not for manipulation, for protection and genuine connection. Because here's what most people miss. Reading people isn't about gaining power over them. It's about seeing them clearly. And when you see someone clearly, you can connect authentically, rather than through mutual performance. The greatest relationships aren't built between masks. They're built between real people who've allowed themselves to be seen. Reading others is the first step toward finding those people and recognizing them for what they are. Machiavelli is remembered as cynical, but read him carefully and you find something else. A man who loved truth more than comfort. A man who preferred seeing clearly to feeling good. A man who knew that genuine wisdom begins with observing what is, not what we wish things were. You now have that observational capacity. The question is whether you'll use it. Starting today, in every interaction, practice these principles. Not obsessively, not suspiciously, just aware. Watch, listen, notice, accumulate data. Over time, your accuracy will become almost uncanny. You'll know what people are going to do before they do it. You'll see conflicts developing before they explode. You'll identify predators before they identify you as prey. And you'll find genuine people faster. Because once you can see through masks, you can recognize the rare individuals who aren't wearing them. That's the real gift of this knowledge. Not the ability to suspect everyone, the ability to trust the right ones. If this opened your eyes, subscribe and hit the notification bell. Every video on this channel gives you another piece of understanding that the world prefers you not to have. We don't teach comfort here. We teach truth. And truth is the only foundation that holds. The next time you meet someone, remember, they're reading you whether you're reading them or not. Now you're both playing the same game. Go win.